Are Tzar Guard any good in patch 5.2? Oh ho, what do we have here? A Kislev melee infantry unit not from Chalice of Change that isn't hybrid. No pow pow pew pew here. Instead, you have a tough and dedicated frontline unit, but which people might like less than the more balanced armored Kossars in a lot of circumstances, or so I'm hearing from you. People have asked me to cover this, so it's time! Recruited for 1000 gold and therefore 250 upkeep. On Ultra, you get 80 entities with 8,800 health between them, so that's 110 per entity, sounding as hardy as some higher-end Chaos offerings. Armor for the base variant is 90 with shields that block 55% of small arms fire from the front, so you have a very sturdy wall facing your foes. Leadership of 75 is impressively solid, Speed 30 and Charge Speed 38 aren't worst in class, Melee Attack 36 and Attack Interval of 4 are collectively above average. No splash damage. Melee defense starts at 50, an elite level that should look familiar from other factions. Weapon strength of 42, split between base 30 and armor piercing 12, is both strong generally, and with a better AP value than in a lot of factions, it's pretty good. Charge bonus of 18 is actually very substantial, and you want this added to the base melee attack, so charge aggressively. Mass is 150 per entity. The Great Weapons variant is interesting. As you might expect, it's slightly pricier at 1,100 gold to recruit, 275 upkeep, no shields, otherwise identical stats until you hit melee attack of 40 or 4 better. Melee defense of 36 is not chicken feed, but that's 14 less. Weapon strength of 42 seems identical, but the split is 15 base and 27 armor piercing, and just as importantly, there's a bonus versus infantry of 14. This raises your out-of-the-gate melee attack to 54 against infantry, and raises that weapon strength from 42 to 56, heavily tilted toward AP. This is a tremendous boon and creates an extremely legitimate shock troop against infantry, and not exactly awful against cavalry either, though durability is less due to reduced defensive heft. Both variants can hide in forest and have By Our Blood to last longer in dire situations. In the Redline skills, we drift away from the skirmishers and find that Best of the Court provides plus 6 melee attack and plus 6 melee defense, and that's what I describe as simple, strong, and reliable. Both variants benefit tremendously. At rank 7, Urson's Favored, as opposed to Urson's Most Wanted, I jest, grants plus 10 armor, plus 5 melee defense, and 15% spell resistance. Keep in mind how different this is from armored Kossars. Spell resistance will help a lot against Chaos factions, but missile resistance is a nightmare for ranged, happy enemies of the Motherland when it's layered with 55% missile block shields. In the tech tree, Tzar Loyalty Right adds plus 8 leadership for a unit with pretty high leadership to start with, and plus 4 melee defense. Seeing a theme! Even if the Great Weapons version starts as substantially boosted on an offense, the improvements lean defense pretty hard. That's also the only unit-specific tech, so you're mainly seeing Kislevite units recruit rank boosts, and so forth. How do you use both these variants? That's not hard, so I won't keep you for long. Tzar Guard are markedly better than armored Kossars in melee on defense, and in terms of weapon strength. The Great Weapons lose the shields, and that's a big deal, yes, but they are functionally equivalent to Empire Greatswords, just with substantially better basic stats. Empire Greatswords are a higher entity unit and cheaper, and while their bonus versus infantry is equal, the corollary is that they're worse against cavalry pound for pound. Higher entities comes with slightly higher hit points unit-wide, but only slightly, meaning that the Greatswords are more vulnerable against spell bombardment. Now you see why that 15% spell resistance helps make Tzar Guard comparatively even more resilient against that stuff, adding to the existing advantage. Since they're incapable of doing double duty, I think you shouldn't think hard about using them unless you ensure you have enough ranged firepower somewhere else, such as dedicated missile units. On the other hand, the higher leadership means you can use formations that poke holes in your line for gunpowder units with more ease. Failing that, you can just use armored Kossars where you would use others, let them get their shots off, and then rush into melee to form a true front line after the fact. Basic stuff, but don't knock it if it works. Tzar Guard having such heavy improvements on the melee defense side means you should see them as reliable as the anchor of your force, like Triarii, except for not being anti-large. Well, anti-armor and anti-infantry is not a bad niche, if that's what the situation warrants. More to the point, all those great weapon units without a bonus versus infantry have reason to be intensely jealous. Just remember, you're paying for what you get. It's not cheap. Having said that, I switched to Iron Guts in this video because I was running out of guys to run as a red team. They were dying and routing too fast to the Tzar Guard with great weapons. So I really do consider them strong performers. Take care, and have fun being the armored wood chipper the enemy sends its forces into. DPS may have its limits, but unless the enemy's forces are actually killing yours, they'll lose. It'll just take some good, hard brawling to get there.
Execute them!